Tonight's intel briefing isn't about Republicans, Democrats, or even elections. It's about civilization and the brutal truth that every empire in human history believed they were too big, too powerful, and too exceptional to fall. Now, if you recall a few days ago, or maybe last week, I spoke about Xi Jinping stating this very fact, and that the world is going to move on without America. Every civilization believed the same thing, that they were indestructible right up until the moment of their collapse, okay? In America, we're following that script with honestly disturbing precision. Rome's fall wasn't sudden. It was a slow bleed. You've probably heard that before. Everyone learns the cute version of Rome. Gladiators, Caesars, right? Legions, marble statues, beautiful place. I've been there, beautiful place. But they never teach what actually killed Rome. Rome didn't fall from one event. Rome died like a body dying from 1,000 cuts. And every single cut is happening right now in modern America. Warning sign number one: corrupt, self-serving leadership. Rome's Senate collapsed into factions. Politicians stopped serving Rome, started serving themselves. Sound familiar? Instead of statesmen, you're getting influencers with titles. Instead of leaders, you're getting actors wearing suits, reciting pre-written lines written by someone else in a closet somewhere, and selling access to the highest. Rome had political theater. America has political performance art. Same script, same ending. Rome didn't just have bad leaders. It had leaders who used the empire as an ATM machine. In America, it's the same circus, just with better lighting. Congress is the only place on earth where people enter with teacher salaries and leave with Wall Street portfolios. You want examples? Let's take the poster child of rags to riches, political transformation. AOC, a literal bartender who couldn't afford an apartment in DC, now comfortably a multimillionaire, complete with designer wardrobes, brand deals, book deals, and investments that magically grew after she entered Congress. Not bad for a democratic socialist. Then there's the famous or infamous Nancy Pelosi, whose stock trades make Warren Buffett look like a confused intern. She hasn't coincidentally bought and sold positions directly, benefiting from the legislation she personally controlled. If you or I did that, we'd be in orange jumpsuits faster than Hunter loses in his MacBook. But when the political class does it, it's just called smart investing. Dan Crenshaw does the same thing. And before anyone gets emotional, this isn't left versus right rant. It's a systemic rot. Even Donald Trump, the guy who I voted for 5 times, who I supported for years on many fronts, is now doing business ventures with Qatar. You got hotels, licensing deals, foreign partnerships in the same style of elite circle chess that voters thought he had put an end to. There's a Trump golf course going up in Qatar, right? That's not an attack on Trump. That's reality. Empires fall because every side eventually plays the same game. Power first, country second. These people aren't public servants. They're public investors. And you're the asset they extract value from. Remember all those NFTs, right? I'll go get a Trump NFT. Rome had senators buying land stolen from citizens. America has politicians buying stocks based on classified briefings. Rome had Caesar using the treasury for personal glory. America has the entire political dynasties treating the country like a family franchise. When leadership becomes wealth extraction, not service, the empire is already in stage 4, decay. And that's where America is at this current moment. Warning sign number 2, collapse of public morality. When an empire loses its moral compass, it loses its will to survive. Rome went from disciplined, Spartan-like citizens to decadence, hedonism, identity confusion, bread and circus entertainment, the worship of emotion over truth. You see any parallels? We live in a country where debauchery is celebrated and strength is shamed, where the weak demand power and the powerful pretend to be weak so they don't get canceled. Rome partied while the walls burn. America is scrolling TikTok. When morals collapse, the nation follows. Our forefathers built this country on the morality that comes from the Bible. Rome didn't fall when the borders cracked. Rome fell when the culture cracked, okay? America is deep into the stage right now. We aren't just dealing with adult chaos. We're watching a generation being engineered into confusion. Indoctrination starts young. In Rome's final century, the state replaced virtue with propaganda. Schools replaced philosophy with obedience. Sound familiar? Look at America's school systems and universities. Identity confusion being taught as empowerment. Getting claps in the classroom for coming out of the closet. Kids being encouraged to question everything except the system itself. Teachers acting more like political influencers. Universities turning into ideological training camps instead of institutions of learning. After 2020, after the Biden administration took the wheel, identity confusion exploded, a psychological pandemic. We went from two genders to an alphabet suit of identities nobody had ever heard of, pushed into children who still believe in Santa Claus. That didn't happen by accident. It happened because every empire that is dying pushes confusion over clarity and emotion over truth. A confused population is easy to control. A grounded population is dangerous. Hedonism takes over. When Rome abandoned discipline, it drowned in pleasure. Man, you grew up in my era, discipline was the key core feature of childhood. America is copying the blueprint of Rome. Everyone is chasing dopamine. Everyone is addicted to entertainment. Everyone is obsessed with self-care, which just means avoid responsibility. Everybody's wanting to feel good instead of be good. It's not about feeling good. Oh, I want to feel good. No, it's about being good. We live in a culture where avoiding discomfort is considered normal, and discomfort is the only thing that builds strength. Look at our military, how they have just destroyed even the basic training process or boot camps by making it easier. Empires die when pleasure becomes a national religion. Now, talking about the bread and circus, it's a new national anthem. In Rome, the government pacified the population with games and entertainment. In America, bread and circuses are the whole identity. You have NFL, Netflix, TikTok, UFC, celebrity drama, news cycles designed like storylines, like a miniseries, scandals rolled out like episodes, influencers treated like Roman gods. But worst of all, politics has become the modern day gladiator arena. It's WWE with podiums. Politicians come out, cut their promo, talk trash about the other side, pretend to be fierce warriors. And then once the camera's cut off, they go backstage, shake hands, and do nothing. Maybe go have a drink at the bar together. No action, no accountability, no change. It's all performance. And like Rome, the people cheer for their team, even though the circus exists to distract them from the collapse happening behind them. And the result, a population that is morally confused, spiritually empty, emotionally unstable, addicted to pleasure, obsessed with entertainment, politically hypnotized, and completely blind to the fact the empire is burning behind them. This is exactly the stage that every dying civilization hits right before the fall. And America checks every box. Warning sign 3, currency devaluation. Rome debases silver coins. America prints money like it's a joke. Rome inflated itself into chaos. America has done the very same thing. The empire survives when its currency becomes a meme. Rome destroyed its currency by shaving silver out of every coin. America destroys currency by printing money until the dollar wheezes like a dying horse. But inflation isn't just about numbers on a chart. It's the invisible tax that bleeds empires dry. And look at the symptoms. Now they're bouncing around a 50-year mortgage, a nation that never owns anything. We've reached that point where the government and banks are floating 50-year mortgages. Think about that. A home loan so long that you won't finish paying it in your lifetime. Your kids inherit your debt, not your wealth. And the bank collects interest for half a century. No nation with a healthy economy does this. Only collapsing empires stretch debt across generations. It's the same trick Rome used. Give the masses ownership on paper while keeping them enslaved through payments. Then we had the 15-year car loans, financing a vehicle like it's real estate. Used to finance a car for 3 years, 5 years, then 7 years, then 10 years. Now, 15-year car loans. That means the average person will finish paying off their car at the same time their engine dies. Is financial servitude disguised as affordability. And empires collapsing when even transportation becomes a multi-decade burden. And most Americans aren't living, they're floating. Credit card debt at all-time highs, savings at all-time lows, people using credit to buy groceries, buy now, pay later for fast food. Emergency funds are wiped, retirement accounts raided, loans stacked on loans, stacked on loans. This isn't an economy, it's a life support machine. Rome collapsed when the citizens could no longer afford bread. America collapses when the citizen can no longer afford eggs. And what does constant debt do? It equals controlled population. And that's the dark truth. A population is in constant debt is a population that never rebels, never questions, never pushes back. Why? Because they can't afford to. They're living paycheck to paycheck. People are too busy trying to survive to take the empire that's hurting them. Rome kept its citizens docile with grain rations. America keeps its citizens docile with credit limits. If you don't look at signs of a dying empire, every economic hallmark of a collapsing civilization is already here. Devalued currency, endless debt, predatory lending, declining wages, inflation disguised as growth, a financial system built on IOUs. America isn't struggling. America is repeating the final stage of every major empire before it fell. Warning sign 4, which we're all well aware of, is open borders and foreign invasions. Rome didn't fall to barbarians. They fell because they invited the barbarians in, treated them better than the soldiers, and acted surprised when Rome burned. In America today, one of the clearest warning signs of the empire dying is when the borders stop meaning anything. Rome didn't collapse because outsiders stormed the gates. Rome collapsed because their leaders opened the gates, called it compassion, and pretended it wouldn't backfire. America's in that stage right now. Biden's open door policy, the front gate swinging wide open. Under the Biden administration, the southern border might as well have been a revolving glass door at the mall. Millions entered with no background checks, no vetting, no tracking, no accountability, no assimilation. Cartels ran logistics, NGOs ran the operation, and the American citizen left to carry the weight. Most of them got government-funded housing and checks. They got taken care of better than our veterans here. A collapsing empire always prioritizes outsiders over its own people. It's not empathy, it's negligence. But here's the brutal truth. It's not just the left. It's not just Joe Biden. This is where most people will get uncomfortable, because while Biden tore the front door off the hinges, the so-called opposition isn't exactly guarding the windows either. For the 25 million that entered, only expected to get out, a quarter of that, maybe. America has a bipartisan border problem. It's just expressed in two very different flavors. Trump's moves that should concern any serious patriot is, and again, I voted for Trump 5 times, but you have to evaluate with clear eyes if you want truth and not tribalism. 600,000 Chinese college students. Trump has recently pushed for 600,000 student visas from China.
Thrilled about this idea of hundreds of thousands of foreign students in the United States. We have about 350,000 Chinese. One point during COVID, you were going to, push to, get them out, but that was pulled back. You've said as many as 600,000 Chinese students could come to the United States. Why, sir, is that a pro-MAGA position when so many American kids want to go to school and there are places not for them, and these universities are getting rich off Chinese money?
Sure. Never said about China, but we do have a lot of people coming in from China. We always have, China and other countries. We also have a massive system of colleges and universities. And if we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
Well, I think that's a big deal.
Are they fans?
You would have the
historically, the United States?
Yeah, but you would have, as you know, historically black colleges and universities would all be out of business. You would have a system of colleges and universities.
So we're dependent on China to keep our university system going?
But I think it's good to have, I actually think it's good to have outside countries. Look, I want to be able to get along with the world.
They're not the French. They're the Chinese. They spy on us. They steal our intellectual property.
What, do you think the French are better?
Yeah.
I mean, really? I don't know. I'll tell you, I'm not so sure. We've had a lot of problems with the French, where we get taxed very unfairly on our technology, where, they put 25% taxes on American products. Look, assuming everyone treats us badly, because that's the way I am, but we take in trillions of dollars from students. The students pay more than double when they come in from most foreign countries. I want to see our school system thrive, but at the same time, I know you and I disagree. We're never going to agree on it, but that's okay. And it's not that I want them, but I view it as a business. We have millions and millions of people. Also, I want to get along with countries if possible. People are shocked. Remember, Hillary Clinton said, we'll be in a war. I stopped 8 wars in the last 9 months. I don't want to be in wars. If I am in a war, we're going to win the thing fast, and it'll be violent. But you know what? I don't want to be in wars. But one thing, you don't want to cut half of the people, half of the students from all over the world that are coming into our country, destroy our entire university and college system. I don't want to do that.
I wouldn't lose any.
And don't forget, MAGA was my idea. MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else. And MAGA wants to see our country.
China is the only nation openly preparing for conflict with America. China also the nation stealing our tech, infiltrating our universities, and running influence ops nonstop. Why are we importing more of their operatives? Why are we building their talent pipeline on American soil? Rome brought in foreign tribes to help strengthen the empire too. It backfired every damn time. Then we had the Qatari military base on American soil. Trump is going to allow, per Pete Hegseth, a foreign nation with its own agenda, to place a military base here in the United States. And I know the people are like, no, it's not a base. It is. If they're coming here to have a permanent post, that's what that is. And I don't care if it's within another military base, it is a permanent post of another foreign military, right? Think about how insane that is. A foreign military on American soil during an era of global instability. Rome let foreign tribes control parts of the empire. It always ended in disaster. And then lastly, the H-1B visas. Americans can't do the job. Trump has talked repeatedly about expanding H-1B visas because Americans can't do the job. Let's call what that is: a demoralizing statement, a globalist talking point, and a slap in the face to the American workforce. This is the same rhetoric corporations use while laying off American citizens and replacing them with cheap foreign labor. Rome weakened its own population by outsourcing its skill nets, okay? America is doing the same. From tech to medicine to engineering. Both sides, different roads, same destination. If you ask me, this is the part people need to hear. Biden throws the border wide open. Trump invites foreign students by the hundreds of thousands and floats foreign bases. Different strategies, different packaging, but same outcome. Foreign influence grows, American stability shrinks, and national identity dissolves. Every empire that has allowed foreign powers, foreign labor, foreign armies, and foreign interests to shape its core collapsed, not from an invasion, but from infiltration. Number 6, the collapse of masculinity. Talked about this endlessly for years. When Roman men stopped training, stopped fighting, stopped leading, and becoming spectators instead of warriors, Rome died. Every single fallen civilization in history had one thing in common. Men forgot who they were. Every empire collapses when its men collapse. Rome didn't fall when the barbarians arrived, okay? Rome fell when Roman men stopped being warriors and became spectators. America's repeating that same exact downfall. Men are being weakened on every front. This isn't accidental, man. It's engineered. Talked about this over the years. Plastics in food, endocrine disruptors in the water, seed oils in virtually everything you eat, processed garbage replacing real nutrition. Testosterone levels have fallen 50% in the last 40 years. That's not evolution. That is chemical warfare on a male population. A weak man is easier to control than a strong one. That's why the system pushes cheap dopamine, porn, drugs, fast food, social media addiction, woke ideology, no responsibility, no purpose. When a nation loses its men, they lose their strength, discipline, drive, and identity. A nation loses its backbone. Fitness used to be a cultural part of our culture. Now degeneracy is. There was a time when being fit wasn't just a hobby, it was a minimum standard, man. You trained, you fought, you protected, you provided, you led. Now it's video games, hookup apps, body dysmorphia filters, and digital fantasies. OnlyFans is the new prostitution. Porn is the new religion, and entertainment is the new battlefield. The modern man is so overstimulated and underdeveloped. The result, a population of grown boys in adult bodies, easy to manipulate, easy to pacify, and easy to control. Not to mention, what I hear all the time from my followers is the court system has destroyed fathers. One of the most reliable indicators of a collapsing civilization is destruction of the family. And America's surgical with that. The court system punishes fathers, removes them from home, strips them from authority, rights, and identity, turns good men into weekend visitors to their own kids' lives. A nation where fathers are removed is a nation being dismantled at the foundation. If you look at the Democrat process that has happened with Democrats over the past 50 years of what they've done to the black families where they remove fathers, you've seen the outcome. And then you have rap music pushing degeneracy, raising the young men. You can't build strong men when a boy never sees one. Strong men are often punished, not celebrated. Empires nearing collapse always flip morality upside down. Criminals protected, heroes prosecuted, victims glorified, offenders demonized. Look at Daniel Penny, a former Marine who stopped a violent threat on a train, a man who stepped up when everyone else froze or was filming with their iPhones. The systems tried to crucify him for it. In a dying empire, courage becomes a crime. Rome executed the very soldiers who once saved it. America prosecutes the men who still believe in duty. And one of my favorite topics is American Christianity has neutered masculinity. Let's address the spiritual angle here because this one is crucial. Modern Western Christianity has become soft, pacifist, apologetic, neutered, emotion-driven, terrified of offending anyone. Churches preach comfort instead of courage, feelings instead of fortitude, and therapy instead of transformation. This isn't biblical Christianity. It's corporate Christianity. The real faith has always been led by warriors: David, Joshua, Gideon, Samson, Elijah, the apostles, and most importantly, Christ himself. People forgot this scripture. Jesus told his disciples, sell your cloak and buy a sword, Luke 20:36. It's not a metaphor, not a parable. It's a direct command for preparedness. Christ wasn't weak. He was controlled strength, a lion who chose when to roar. A real Christian man is strong, not savage, controlled, not cowardly, peaceful, but not passive, dangerous, but righteous, grounded in truth, not culture. You can't build a righteous nation with weak men. You build it with strong men restrained by moral discipline. That's the difference between barbarianism and biblical masculinity. And that's why empires collapse, because the men lose strength, discipline, courage, purpose, faith, family, and identity. The nation becomes a hollow shell. Rome died this way, and America is standing at that same crossroad. But the collapse will never consume the men who stayed sharp, stayed trained, stayed faithful, and stayed dangerous. Weak men create hard times, but strong men rise inside those hard times. Now let's talk about the pattern across all fallen empires. Rome isn't the only example. The Soviet Union collapsed from corruption, propaganda, shortages, weak leadership, and economic implosion. Check, 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 check. The Ottoman Empire rotted from the inside due to decadence and bureaucracy. Check. The British Empire overextended military, crushed economy, political division. Check. The Weimar, hyperinflation, cultural decay, national humiliation. Check. Ancient Babylon, immorality, pride, and moral collapse. Check. Every civilization that falls follows the same pattern: moral collapse, cultural collapse, economic collapse, political collapse, and then civilization collapses. America is currently in phase 3, and we're heading into phase 4. And every empire that rejected its foundation, its moral spine, fell. Rome rejected virtue for pleasure. Weimar rejected order for chaos. Babylon rejected God for idols. America's rejecting the very moral structure that built it. And the collapse is always disguised as progress right before it implodes. But there's always a remnant, a group of men who refuse to bow, refuse to bend, and refuse to sink into the madness. These men rebuild the world after the fall. Every empire collapses has the same immediate survival problems: instability, crime, scarcity, corruption, power vacuums, predators looking for opportunity. Your job isn't to panic. Your job is to prepare quietly, train relentlessly, and stay situationally aware at all times. The collapse of Rome didn't kill everyone. It just punished the people who were unprepared. Now, the reality America doesn't want to hear is empires don't fall overnight. They rot slowly, then collapse suddenly. And when the collapse happens, it's too late to fix anything. Right now, we are in the rot phase. Rot is reversible for the individual, even when it's not reversible for the nation. That's where the warrior class comes in. Every great collapse produces two types of men: victims and survivors. And the victims blame the world, they blame the government, blame society. Survivors build themselves into steel mentally, physically, and spiritually. We see the victim mentality. Oh, because I'm this color, I've been done wrong, the oppression. Oh, because I sleep with this person. Oh, the fall of Rome wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a new era. If America collapses, you don't go down with it, you rise during it. And if you're on this channel, you already know the mission: stay prepared, stay disciplined, stay hard to kill. We're living in very dark times. I know it doesn't seem that way because all the dopamine hits, all the theater from our politicians, but we are. That's why it's most important for you to stay frosty, stay strapped, stay dangerous. Black Scout.